Hello and Happy New Year. I am Khanduit Tarot and welcome to my channel. I am so excited to begin readings this year, 2021. It's something that I've been threatening to do for a very long time. I felt called to do it, and I just was really shy. This is a really vulnerable experience, and yet something that it just wouldn't go away. So here I am, and I'm diving in with a New Year's pick a card to launch with, and this way we kind of just get going. I've got a couple of fun things to do, and I'm an intuitive reader. I will be using the Rider-Waite for I think a Celtic cross spread. We'll use the Muse Tarot to clarify with. And we're starting off with these thank you notes to universe. So we've got 3 piles here, pile 1, 2, and 3. I will flash a picture, a steady picture of this so that you can have a moment to meditate and decide which one that you want to pick. If you're like me and kind of get up in your head about that from time to time, I'm gonna link in the comment box below, or in the description box below, excuse me, not only the timestamps for each of these piles, but also a random number generator on Google, which is when I'm just feeling too up in my head, I let Google decide, and you can just put in your numbers 1 to 3, and it'll pick one for you. So that's always fun. But otherwise, meditate on each one. We've got 3 piles, one with the rose quartz crystal, 2 is got the green Jasper crystal, and the red Jasper is pile 3. Okay, so then I will give you a moment now to choose. Hey pile 1, welcome to Khanduit Tarot, and thank you for watching. If this reading resonates with you, please do hit the like button and subscribe if you are so moved once you receive your reading. Again, hopefully it does resonate with you. If not, try one of the other 2 piles. Maybe one of those will. And so this reading is largely going to be themed on the new year. Happy 2021. And the way I like to really frame this is, what have we put in motion? What have you put in motion, collective? This is a collective general reading. That is one more thing I want to say, that some of these messages may resonate with you loudly and others may not. And so just take what is for you and leave behind the rest. And so now, without further ado, what have we put in motion for the new year, which will capture the tracks that we did lay in 2020, where we find ourselves now at the turnover of the new year, and we're kind of like, we can see ourselves sort of naturally heading, and then, you know, if necessary, how we want to maybe change course. Let's get right into this. So first of all, you chose the rose quartz, and this is opening up the heart chakra. So we're really talking about your love relationships, both romantically, also your kith and kin. So just really having an open heart chakra is what this crystal stands for and promotes. So we're talking about perhaps matters of the heart, but also perhaps just, you know, an area that you've been working on, or an area that you want to promote and do some work on. So our thank you card, let's start with that. Our thank you card to the universe is, we've got the 2 arrows crossing, and it sort of reminds me of 2 swords, but really these more remind me of wands. And so This thank you card to the universe says, I am in humble gratitude to the universe for my clear channels of communication with spirit and with all my kith and kin on earth and beyond. My bond to you is never blocked. It always was, it always will be, and so it is. Amen. So this is about clear channels of communication. So yeah, I think that the vibration I was getting was the Eight of Wands, more even than the Two of Swords. But we did channel a message that was kind of Two Swordsy, because we talked about communication being blocked, and that sort of is. So we are unblocking. That's the focus that we claim, is that we're unblocking any channels of communication, so that might have had interference. So that's a wonderful way to start. And then we've got a Wisdom of the Oracle card, which is Yin, the number 2, again with the number 2. So that's going to, the feeling of 2 is going to permeate your year. So, and then we have this really incredible deck that my dear friend gifted me. It's Intuiti. It's an Italian word. I can't remember. Intuiti. Oh dear, I'm not going to remember it. So we're not going to bother. But they're lovely, and they're, well, based on the Rider-Waite, they're very interesting and intuitive. So I'm going to do my best with them. I'm still getting used to them, but I do get a lot of imagery and messages from them. Okay, so let's first talk about yin. Yin is, as in yin and yang, and yin in energy is feminine energy, and the number 2 is encompasses or embodies the energy of duality, which is often attributed to the divine feminine. And so when we think of duality, there's often, a sort of obtaining of balance, and trying to keep a balance. But there's also, the ability and the proclivity to diversify, to do this and that, to multitask, to honor both sides of the coin, to see both sides of a situation, and then it also talks about your divine counterpart and mirroring. Perhaps that's happening. It talks about two halves coming together as a whole. And so thematically speaking, what your reading is going to be about is the aspects and elements of yin energy, which is divine feminine, but also the idea of balancing two parts well, or perhaps that being your challenge, and needing to keep things in balance. It can also talk about a choice or a decision that may be upon you. So again, this is the energy of divine feminine, and yin energy is all of those beautiful things. I also, be remiss to fail to mention. Anyway, yin energy also is the Empress. So I think that there's a lot of those attributes of the Empress. It's Venus energy, again with the divine feminine. It's creation, creativity. It's fertility. Perhaps there's pregnancy. And an actual creation of life for some of you, but for others of you, it's going to talk about the creation of a great thing, or a great project, or a great, like maybe you're feeling particularly artful and particularly productive in the sense of your work, and so that's what the divine feminine energy speaks to here. Okay, and this fun card is 12. No. Yes, 12. Sorry. So this is an intuitive card. It's Major Arcana. And right away I'm getting, so you're on the edge of a precipice, looking over, and it is not scary. The world is all upside down. But you have found a way, using your creativity and your unique skill set to stay balanced within a period where everything else seems upside down. And perhaps this state suits you. Perhaps it's something that, when everything is right side up and normal, you feel out of sorts. But now that everything's upside down, it's like, okay, I can think, now I can think straight. And you strangely feel more peaceful than usual. It's like, when we were kids, we used to hang upside down on our bed or on the sofa and view the room, as if the ceiling were the floor, and get an understanding of what the room really was. And so much like the Hanged Man, it's getting a new perspective in life, and it just seems cleaner this way somehow. Somehow you see the environment for, in a way that's more true than when you have to see it with all of its decoration, but once you turn it upside down, and you kind of see it for what it is, or at least you see it another way, in a way that you couldn't have seen it had you not turned it on its head. And so that's going to be the energy going into year 2021. So you may have a lot of things that you're trying to balance, and everything feels a little topsy-turvy, and you have some decisions to make. But as you enter into the year, the advice is to go at it from a new perspective, a different perspective, turn it on its head. And I think indeed that the energy here is that you are, it's a method that suits you. And once you do begin to go upside down, your head gets clear really fast, in a way that's, perhaps unique to you, and not typical. And so maybe you know this about yourself already, but maybe you are just finding this out, that you kind of march to a beat of another drum, or a different drum. Okay, what do my group threes need to know about where have they been, and what have they set in motion for 2021? What is coming forward for 2021 for my group? Did I say three? I'm already moving ahead. My group one. If I did say three, but three is really yelling at me loudly right now. That three won't leave me alone. The number three might be significant to some of you. 333 might be popping up on the clock a lot. You might, be in your 30s, or you might, you might be doing a lot of collaborating. 3 is a number of collaboration, and creation, co-creation. So there might be a lot of group activity going on in your life right now. So yeah, 3, whatever that means for some of you. Spirit, what is our group number 1? However, group number 1 need to know about. How can we expand on the main ideas? Okay. Bang out way to start. I'll tell you that. I need these gonna need a bigger boat. I don't know why you're upside down. This group number 1 and 2. So as I said, we'll be reading with the Rider-Waite, the classic, and then we'll be clarifying with the Muse Tarot. Wow. And our outcome for number 1. Okay, that was claro. Okay, group number 1. I'm going to readjust because my foot is already falling asleep. This is going to be lovely. Yeah? This is part of what we learn. Okay. In case I edit this, that cut was because I had to change my seating position. Okay, hey, group number 1, let's get into this. So group number 1, you are signified by the Emperor. The Emperor is established energy, really, real authority, real establishment, real exalted expertise. The Emperor has fought hard and earned well his reign over his dominion. This is divine masculine energy, so male or female, doesn't matter what gender you are. This is the energy that you begin the year with. It's very very solid, which is so interesting because the energy moving into the year is yin, is divine feminine. So and you have the balancing act and the balancing of the two, and then you also have the let's turn it upside down, turn it on its head, let's see the other side of the coin. So I think that's sort of like how you enter your year. It's very interesting, conceptually, because what we have is that you perhaps we're coming out of 2020 in a really by the book kind of rigid way. This is the way I rule my realm. This is the way I always do things. This is the way. But you're coming into the new year with a new idea about how to move forward and how to make things more fruitful perhaps for you, and starting to soften that approach by leaning into a more fluid and feminine way of thinking about things and going about your everyday tasks, as well as how you problem solve. So that is kind of a beautiful thing, I think. Crossing you is the 5 of Swords. And the 5 of Swords energy is this feeling of every man for himself, and also the feeling that even though you've won the battle, you look around and you begin to wonder if it was worth it, if it was worth all the risk and the loss after all, which is possibly the reason why you come out of the energy of the Emperor. As I said, the Emperor's battles were very hard fought and hard won, well earned. He's earned his station well, and there is a sense of righteousness with that. However, perhaps there's this notion after you look around that of what was it worth it, that those battles, they cost you a lot. Whatever it is for some of you, perhaps there are people that you lost, friendships, family members, one way or the other, broken relationships, lost opportunities, if it's professional, it just somehow cost you too much to stick by your guns so hard. And which is, again, why going forward, perhaps you decide you need to soften your approach. And because the 5 of Swords is sort of, the harbinger of it's a bit of a warning that about it's a bit of a warning about the idea of sticking so solidly to your guns no matter what, sometimes it can be about standing up for yourself, or just doing what you have to come hell or high water. But in this case, I think it indicates this real understanding that this there was a lot of loss, and you're not quite certain that it was worth it in the end. So interesting. Clearly a learning moment. Clearly, because I think that's what's indicated by the Yin card and the number 12 of the Intuiti. So at your root is the Ace of Wands in the reverse. So kind of a sense of burnout, and it's no wonder, after fighting these types of battles, again, where it feels there's a sense of futility after a while that's really exhausting. And so a sense of burnout and a lack of passion is only natural, and the natural response. But hey, again, it's one of those things where you're clearly using it to learn you're using it as a real learning lesson, and fueling really great change for yourself. And one thing I will say is that we're getting a lot of water energy from here, coming out of this really rigid, fire and swords energy into water. So at your crown is the Seven of Cups in reverse, and so you're getting clarity. You're gaining clarity through all of this activity. As you move into the new year, like everything that transpired in 2020, and the way that you felt that you needed to handle it, while again it was successful, evidently, it hasn't left you feeling that good. And so if there was any confusion about how to or having to change your the way you move forward, you're gaining a lot of clarity on that, and it has to do with Cups energy, which is emotion. And again, we're deciding to become more fluid in the way we handle things. And it might have had to do with somebody's example, or somebody coming in. This is the Knight of Cups in your recent past. And Knight of Cups is a bit of a messenger, and he's also a bit of a savior, not a savior, but like a Prince Valiant, somebody who comes in to save the day a little bit. And maybe this is somebody, again, it doesn't matter what gender, and it doesn't quite matter the relationship. It is sometimes looked at as a romantic figure, but it could be a friend. It's just a message of love. Somebody coming in to give you the idea that that love is the answer. To maybe somebody, you got the advice from somebody. It could be also a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. It doesn't have to be, but sometimes I like to call that out when we think of somebody in our life to help, perhaps narrow it down. But it doesn't have to be. But it's just somebody who has a lot of, water, in their energy, and certainly their message has to do with love and creativity, and somebody who's opening their heart to you, and somebody who's perhaps shown you the way a little bit, and introduced you to just a new way of thinking, just by example, by perhaps them showing you how open they are. And look, we had this rose quartz start out our reading, and that's talking about opening our heart chakra. And this is what this reading points to entirely, is like the opening of your heart chakra, and whereas perhaps it had been closed, or you'd been more guarded and blocked off. And my gosh, it's all coming together, because look, remember when we started this reading with the blocked off energy of perhaps the Two of Swords, but that it turns into more of an Eight of Wands energy of communication. And so we're opening up the lines of communication, and we're manifesting that with our open heart chakra now. And so it really makes a lot of sense that that's sort of like the thing that you are manifesting, the thing that, that you're being guided towards is a way to make yourself more emotionally vulnerable, emotionally available through communication, really, and communicating through through your heart and through how how you're feeling, and being able to clearly communicate those things. And it's really, really beautiful, because you graduate to the Queen of Cups in the near future. So I'm going to read this card two different ways. First, it's you who graduates to the Queen of Cups, and that you gain real access to an open heart. And the Queen of Cups is a very exalted person in her element of water, of emotional access. She's very nurturing. She's very motherly. She's very intuitive. She's I would say pre-priestess energy in how intuitive she is. And truly she is available and ready to give and express love freely, and she's just overflowing with it. So another way to read this is, for some of you, it is going to represent somebody who holds these attributes. It could be your actual mother. It could be somebody in your life who, again, is a water sign, that's Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, and they may be this messenger, and they come into your life as an advisor, and you just continue to get a lot of support from them. But really, I think for most of you, this represents your evolution, your revolution, that you are here going from the Emperor to all the way to the Queen of Cups, which makes sense that you're softening from this, divine masculine to divine feminine energy. Again, that's supported here. It's just confirmation to me. I really do think this is you more than anybody else. But for some of you, it may represent a maternal figure, somebody who, or, again, gender doesn't necessarily matter. Somebody who just offers that type of loving support, being really, really important at this time in the very near future. So really beautiful. I think, thematically though, and overall, no matter what, it is confirmation that your evolution and indeed revolution into a space in your life that is much more open and much more open to love and to communicating with love is, this is a successful revolution anyway. Okay, so see, here where we, therefore stand is the Five of Wands in reverse, and it's the end of conflict. So, I think one of the things that, makes it occur to anybody that what they've been doing isn't quite, hasn't been working. Something's not working. Even though it looks like I'm winning, like I don't feel like satiated. It doesn't feel good somehow. And so this whole revolution, I'm going to keep on calling it a revolution. I think it's beautiful. Is showing up as an end of conflict. And that's just amazing and really great, and signifies that the results are immediate. And your environment is the Four of Wands in the reverse. And so I think that it's sort of like a return to self. So the Four of Wands to me is a homecoming card. It's also, in general, it's a card of union and celebration, because of union is often called the 1111 soulmate card, or often represents marriage more traditionally, but I see it as a homecoming in that sense, in the sense that, marriages and unions can also often feel like a homecoming, to yourself, when you meet your other half, so to speak, you return to yourself, if kind of in that, ultra romantic twin flame kind of vibe, two parts of one whole coming together again. You're home now. And indeed we talked about that in the 2 when we talked about the meaning of the number 2. But in this case, all of this reunion with your heart space, this more emotional, watery aspect of yourself, which is always with you, but you, evidently with the Emperor, kind of leaned too heavily away from it, but returning to it and exercising that element in you is bringing, it brings everything home. It's in your environment. So this is idea of, of returning to yourself, and having that be recognized in your environment. Look at it another way of just sort of being called to. For some of you, it is going to mean that you're moving house. For some of you, it's going to mean that your personal revolution or evolution is going to, for whatever reason, is going to make it necessary to find a new home. Whether that's because you. Oftentimes, when we change our environment, it just helps us to. We just grow out of spaces, right? And it's going to be for different reasons for all of you. I think maybe I should stay away from specifying that, because I'm just going to, add too much to it, intellectualize it too much. But I'm just going to leave it at some of you will be moving house because, of this new change. You need a new scenery. Your hopes and fears is the 10 of Wands in reverse. And so that's a release of burdens, and it's in your hopes and fears. And this is, been your, kind of your undergirding reason for all of this change, your revolution, is that you've been really burdened, whatever this was, whatever these conflicts were, where, you stuck to your guns hard, because I think the initial instinct of the Emperor energy that you'd been living in was that, of course I'm right. I know I'm right. And look, you probably were, and there was some sort of indoctrination. That too many syllables. Indoctrination. There it is. Indoctrination that you were following, and correctly, into the letter, and yet the result of it was burdensome, and so something didn't smell right as a result. You're like, I did it right. I know I did it right. I did it by the book, but it didn't feel right, and so I've got to go with my heart instead. And so your hopes and fears is that you're going to be able to release all the burdens that brought on for you, whatever moral or emotional conflict that living in this way or going forward with your battles in this other way that didn't involve the heart as much anyway, if at all, that you're going to be able to release some burdens. And of course, those are your hopes. I get it. And as a result, we have the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles is a material offer. So I think that means, so a material offer, just, new work, a real offer in a relationship, somebody just, making it official, so to speak. Pentacles has to do most often with, the material world and our finances sometimes, and work and this sort of thing, vacation. So because this is a general reading, I'm just going to kind of like, say all the things. And so for some of you, it's going to be that you get a new offer in, in what you do. You get a new offer anyway in, because you're activating this new aspect of yourself, and that is so much more available and vulnerable. It really opens up the channels for you to get new offers, and they're all going to be positive. This speaks to one offer in particular. So, and it's a general reading, so it can run the gamut of, again, new work, or somebody can be coming in and saying, just giving you a material offer for a new relationship of some sort, whether it's romantic or platonic. You're just creating opportunity, more opportunity. So let's clarify our outcome and see what we get. See what we get for the Ace of Pentacles, please. I'm afraid. We're gonna just take those because they all three fell out. And look, so how interesting. So I'm so surprised because none of this is cups, but it's all through cups. It's all achieved via cups, which is to say it's achieved through opening your heart chakra and being more available emotionally. But the offer that you have coming your way has to do with, we have the Emperor again, the Page of Voices, and the Three of Materials. So it is going to be, for many of you, work, quality work. So the Three of Materials is the Three of Pentacles, and so it talks about quality work and collaborations. And so through opening up your heart chakra, you're going to have new offers to collaborate professionally and to create something that's of real quality. And for others of you, it is going to be a real offer of, of just opening up your community with like-minded people who value the same thing as you do. And then, but the Emperor card showing up here, it's so interesting because we basically end where we started a little bit. But I think it's here just to tell us that you didn't lose yourself, by the way. I think a lot of times when we make a really big sea change type of evolution, and indeed a revolution, and just start to do something so different, like go to the other side, it feels like this sort of change, I think for you, felt like going to the other side. And so you feel like your identity is at risk, and this is here to say that it's not, that you still retain your you-ness, your sense of self, everything that you lived and earned, and that everything that the Emperor embodies is, in terms of just being a really high quality, high achieving person. That doesn't go away. You don't lose that. But you gain is an offer of quality work and strong community. We have the Page of Voices, which is the Page of Swords, and so this talks about curiosity. It talks about observation. And it talks about clear communication, but really kind of at a page level. So it could talk about this offer coming from a younger air sign. Air signs are, I'm gonna get this, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Score. And it doesn't have to be that sign, but it could just be somebody who has the attributes of the Page of Swords, which is somebody who is a real open communicator, but is a little doesn't really think about his or her words, just blurts things maybe, but it's always going to be the truth. It's always, as he or she sees it, it's always going to be, maybe it's too much of the truth, that sort of thing. It's kind of cute. you know, or they just could be sloppy with their words too, in a way that's, you know, they don't understand when they hurt people, or, you know, what, you know, the communication style could use some sophisticated, some leveling up, sophisticating, I don't know, but it's not a word. But the thing I mean to say, I'm kind of pages wordsy. That's what's happening here. Is that this person is, the offer might be coming from them, someone like them, which is really a funny kind of place to come from, because I think that no matter what they say and how it sounds coming out of their mouths, it's a really good offer that's like very high quality. And I keep on saying high quality, it just sounds so petty. There's a better way of saying it. It just is really has a lot of integrity. That's what I mean to say. The offer may sound sloppy, but it's got a lot of integrity. So just listen to this person when it comes your way, and that you don't lose yourself. Final thing I'm gonna do, you guys, that's your reading, by the way, and I think it's lovely. Tarot is fluid. These things can change. These things can, sway this way or that. Please come back to check out more readings, or check out another pile if this pile didn't quite resonate with you. But to end, I've got a bowl of songs where I wrote the first lyric to songs that I, picked out on shuffle on my phone. Excuse me. But that's kind of like another divination tool that's really fun. This part's just for fun. It's a fun way to leave your reading, or or maybe we might go deep. I don't know. There's some Radiohead in here, but let's see what you get. And this will kind of just be another like kind of overriding energy to add to all of this for 2021. What's our pile one need to know? Ooh, let's go that one. Oh la la. I love this so much for this file. It's from Exist for Love by Aurora, which, by the way, please do. For the ones that I choose, I think I'll link in the description box your song, because this song is really amazing. This woman's voice is so just flawless. It's flawless, and the song is beautiful. It is like everybody's wedding song. But the first line is, they say there is a war between the man and the woman. They say there is a war between the man and the woman. And it is, it's exactly where what we started with, overarching the divine masculine and the divine feminine coming up here and opening your heart chakra, and just that's sort of the energy of where you're at. Like you're maybe not at war per se, but you're really like at odds, or you're doing this balancing act between your divine feminine and your divine masculine, and it doesn't have to be compartmentalized out. You can meld them. You can come together. You can bring the two halves into whole and come back as a homecoming, and in this way sort of return to self. They can coexist really, really well. Now we do flex one or the other a lot of the times, more often, but you don't have to be at war. You don't have to have your yin at war with your yang. You can come together and be in balance. And this is what the whole of this reading, this is definitely the undergirding energy of this reading, is like you're really learning how to bring those two aspects into balance, and it's by all rights and evidence, it's really helping you to open your heart chakra and be at better balance, and be happier, and end conflict, and again return to self, and then open yourself up to new offers that that have a lot of integrity in them, and in a way that perhaps you weren't feeling was available to you in the previous year. Really beautiful. Group one, pile one, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe if that resonated with you at all and you'd like to see more. I'm sending you all my love and light. Happy New Year, and hope to see you again. Hi Pile 2, I am so pleased to be reading for you today. Thank you so much for watching my channel, and let's just jump right into your reading. So you chose group 2, which is the green Jasper, and the green Jasper is access to abundance, access to financial wealth, access to it's opening up the channels to receive all that the universe has to offer. It really is about opening your channel for receiving abundance. And so it's a real great stone for manifesting. And so as you go into your manifestation meditations or prayer, this is a really great stone to have around. And so this is also going to be signifying the energy of your reading and kind of what, you hope to see and bring in for 2021. So that's really exciting. Green Jasper, you guys. Okay, so starting your reading, I'm going to read this thank you card to Universe. And this again is going to talk about the energy. We've got the anchor. And let's see what it has to say. I'm humbly grateful to Universe for my beautiful support system who allow me the strength to offer steady support in return. This manifests in many ways through loving bonds as well as a wealth of security and peace on earth. A wealth of security and peace on earth. Such is our inheritance and such is our legacy. It always was, it always will be, and so it is. So really, really beautiful. It reminds me of the Ten of Pentacles in terms of that really steady, stable sense of security, that sort of an anchoring support that is so established that it is legacy, that it's it's something that you inherited and it's something that will go on for generations. It's that steady and secure. It anchors you. And it also talks about being able to be a steady support system and having that in your community and being that in your community. So really beautiful energy there. It's no wonder that it goes with the green Jasper. Because again, you're opening up your channels for receiving and giving that type of abundance. And so, that's how legacies are truly created. I apologize for the helicopter overhead. Anyway, probably gonna get a lot of that. I'm not gonna pay too much attention to it, but yeah, this is the energy of the green Jasper, so it makes a whole lot of sense that we're talking about like legacy wealth, and of course that means in material ways, but it also talks about just in your energy, in your bonds, and the wealth of community that you have, and how that supports you. Right, so then we have Wisdom of the Oracle card and a, what do you call it? Oh gosh, I'm not gonna, it's the intuitive. I can't remember how it's like intuitive, but Italian. Intuiti, I think. My dear friend gifted me this deck. It is brilliant, and I love it. I get so much of it. It is based off the Rider-Waite, but then it just does a whole nother. It just goes into another realm. So yeah, these are going to be sort of like the undergirding energies into your reading, and we've got higher power, and number 11, and oh my gosh, it's giving me sun card vibes, and higher power. And so, wow, there is so much channeling going on. You are clear channels. You guys are so open and just, it's so interesting because it's reminding me, all in conjunction with this, it's giving me really hardcore magician vibes, because, the magician is, got one, hand, channeling downward to the earth and one to the sky and to spirit. And he's really like, just like he's the conduit, for spirit, as, bringing spirit and the energies of magic, into the 3D realm here on Earth. And so, I've got like this, like really this envision. Sorry, I'm stumbling. It's coming so fast. I can't say it quickly enough. But it's anchored down into the earth, and then it comes out, and it's just beaming out of this, person's third eye chakra. If you can see it, I don't know that you will be able to. And then, and then here's this really like beautiful bursting energy, kind of mirroring that, rooted, and then, just fully energetically connected to the heavens above. And that's where you are. You are a master manifester, is what we like to say. And that means that you are just in a really perfect and poised place. That's where you find yourself at the turn of this year. Whatever work you've been doing, you've been really tapping in and paying attention to the truth and beauty of just who you are, like unquestioning. Like I'm really getting a strong energy of somebody who is so like intact, like that. It's I'm really getting excited because it's so beautiful and just so ready to to do the next thing. It's ready to be of service. You're really in a perfect spot, and fully calibrated to be the connective tissue between earth and sky, between the 3D and the 5D, between our world and the next. And it's just just beautiful. You are a perfect conduit. And I so what can I say more about this? If you don't feel like you're here yet, I mean, I'm telling you you are. But it also is it certainly is aspirational, and that you just need to tweak one or two things if you don't feel here already, and it really is just to perhaps straighten out your word. Oftentimes it's all you need to correct is just make sure your word is true and positive, and always speak truth optimistically and positively, and that will kind of click you into place. So yeah, your higher power is speaking to you, is here with you, and I want to say, for some of you, you're really connected to the spirit realm at this time. You may have lost somebody, and they're here with you as your spirit guide, and that's just coming through. There's this imagery in the card where there's sort of like a face and a body and a face, and it's just they're here with you. And if it's not somebody who's a loved one who's passed away, it is just your spirit angels and spirit guides from your ancestry line. You're again with the legacies, that ties into that. This is giving me strong sun card vibes, and it just is, once again, I don't think I need to complicate it. It's as simple as being just a very perfect conduit between earth and sky, and that you are giving and receiving fully. The reciprocity in this is just probably the most beautiful thing I can feel right now. And that's why the sun is such, said to be the best card in the deck. Oftentimes it's, because it's the life bringer, it's the life giver. And so when you're so perfectly calibrated, that sense of life and virility that you feel, like it's like your energy is boundless. Your energy to give and to love knows no limit. And and your readiness for it is just is so exciting. It's so exciting. It's if you're not already pretty young, you are feeling very youthful right now, and how great is that? So you're imbued with health and virility and vibrance, and I'm feeling it right now. I feel so good. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I love it. So that's the energy of your reading. I'm so happy to report, but let's just keep this around, right? Group 2, we're going to do a Celtic cross to talk about if that's the overriding energy. I can't wait to see how we're going into 2021. Let's see what we have for group number 2. Okay, interesting. Group number 2, what have they set in motion for 2021? 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 There you are again. Came up. 2021, 2021, 2021. Interesting. These are interesting cards. Yeah, your energy is in a really great space, and it's going to be interesting to see how you got there. You know, and this one's come out. Yeah. Hey. How interesting. It's so interesting. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's too many cards, though. Okay, that's the one. Okay. Oh. Oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah. Oh, outcome. Another offer. That's group 1 also ended with an offer. You guys, I see you. Yeah, so that beautiful energy that is, kind of who you've become, it was well earned. It didn't just, show up. You didn't come that way, like, necessarily. You worked on it. You worked for it. You earned, those aren't the right words. Like, it's, it comes as the result of having been through some stuff. That's all. So we start, your reading is signified by the moon. And the moon is such an interesting card, such an interesting energy, because, like, I don't see it as all that scary, but some people do. It really talks about, what you don't see, like what's not fully lit up, so in the night sky, the full moon is still, it's pretty bright if you've been out in a full moon, by the way. It illuminates quite a lot, but not everything. There are still things in darkness and shadow. So for this reason, it can mean things that are, kept from you, things that are, have been held as secret, things that have been, that you're just not getting the full story about. And yet it also just talks about, like, you don't know what you don't know, and so... so there's this idea of, the full moon is the start of a new cycle. And it's, or, seen another way, just depending on where you're looking at it, like the pinnacle of a cycle. Like it's, but certainly it's the point at which a cycle begins to go another direction. And so we don't necessarily know what the new cycle will bring, so which is to say that if we're starting something new, part of it is the things that we can plan for and anticipate. And then there's just a whole slew of things that we know we just can't. It's just going to come as it comes, and we're going to find out when it happens. And that's the part that makes it nerve-wracking and scary. So anytime we embark on a new idea, a new job, just a new direction in life, it's new relationships indeed, like whatever it is for you. This is a collective reading, so it's all going to, be in a different area for each of you, of course. But there's the sense that you started off with this feeling of like, of kind of just nervousness and fear. But really what it talks about is that's there. It indicates only that there is newness there, that something, is on the horizon, something new is on the horizon, something really, that's going to be really beautiful and eye-opening. But, well, let's dig deeper. The moon. I like the moon a lot. It's also romantic. I do have to say that for some of you, it is going to talk about, where you're starting off is romance. I say that also because, it's the moon, and that's romantic in general, conceptually. But also there's some cards over here that I have the benefit of seeing into the future about. So I'll talk about them in a second. But what's crossing you or supporting depending on how you see it, is the Knight of Cups. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Cups as a messenger of love or creativity, an offer. It's an offer, and often seen as sort of like a prince challenge. Whoa, I was gonna say a prince challenging. That's interesting. So it's Prince Charming or a Knight Valiant. You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. But Prince Challenging is so much better, right? So I'm, nothing's for naught. Nothing's an accident. But here, let me just talk about it. I think, what happens is that you get a messenger, you get information from somebody, and perhaps even, an offer of support and love through this period, and yet perhaps it comes at a time where it's a challenge. It is a challenge, because you're so ready to go this alone, and sort of I'm getting like own self vibes, like that 2-year-old who wants to do everything his own self. I'm not calling you a 2-year-old, but it's sort of that, like, that determination, really, that's all that is. To just do it yourself, your own self, but somebody comes along and offers you this cup of like support, of love, of let's do this together, let's collaborate, and that's sort of where the trepidation comes in, but it's really what's happening is, I think it's breaking you open a bit, and and you do some work, and you to give into it, because where you're coming from is sort of like, this implies that you kind of knew some kind of tough times or choppy waters. It's the Six of Swords, and the Six of Swords is moving on to calmer waters, and to more security. They're moving across this body of water towards the citadels, or the structures in the distance on the horizon there. That's towards safety, and you can see that the water here is much behind them as they're leaving is really choppy, and so there was a lot of ado, and so as they leave, it's they carry their swords with them a little bit, which is to say that maybe there's baggage, but and a little bit of trouble in the mind. Swords are mental energy, so this is all kind of like up in the head, and metaphoric. Maybe you actually did move away, but like more often than not, it's metaphorically. You had to move away from a situation, or from somebody, or from a concept, an idea, a job. For some of you, it's going to be a relationship. Some of you, it's going to be a situation, or different for everybody, but indeed it's because you knew some trouble there, or there was just some discordance, and that's what's at the root of this whole reading, and how you come into 2021. So no wonder you're feeling a little trepidatious. What crowns you is the Nine of Wands, the wounded warrior, so that kind of carries on the feeling to me. And this person, you, has been through it, has been through battle, has come out, but not unscathed. They haven't come out of this unscathed, and so it's not the sort of win or victory. It's not a victory. It's sort of like you come out and you're licking wounds a little bit, and you're exhausted by it, and you're beat up, you know, but you know, on the good side, like you did win, like you got through it. Your wands are still standing, and so your fortress is still standing, and so you got out intact, and then you moved away from it, and I think that's, you know, sort of like the energy of where you come from. That's why I say, like, you know, it was a necessary rite of passage for you, whatever it was. For each of you, it's going to be different, and but it was necessary because it gave you access, and you know, to this really brilliant sunny energy, and access to divine, to your higher power, and truly, I think it was through your higher power that, you know, you were guided to go through this process. In your recent past is the Chariot in reverse. The Chariot in reverse. Well, the Chariot upright is an intention, you know, a really solid intention to move forward with great emotion, with great passion, and it's often called a card of victory as well. I get the feeling that, you know, when it's turned upside down, that some of that is frustrated, and this is in your recent past. And again, you know, so we're talking about winning a battle and winning, you know, getting through these things, but it's not a victory. Like, it's a win, but it's not a victory. Like, because again, you come out a little beat up by it, and so that's sort of like the energy that's a little browbeaten, and is that the right term? It's a little exhausted from the situation, so not like victorious, you know, like Ben-Hur coming in on his chariot kind of thing. Excuse me. But again, the Chariot is by and large an energy of bold, solid intention, and moving forward rather myopically, you know, and so the thing I like to point out about the Chariot, though, is that the Sphinxes are just chilling out, even though the gladiator type is there, like, okay, I'm ready, I have every intention of moving forward, but he hasn't set the Sphinxes who are pulling that chariot, he hasn't set them in motion yet. So that's why I say it's like bold intention to move forward. So in reverse, for some of you, like in the, you know, in the recent past energy, it could mean simply that you have it's the action, it's putting that into action, you know. But again, I think for most of you, it's the idea that there was a battle won, but that it was you know, frustrated, and so therefore not entirely victorious. So so, you know, in the in the near future, where that brings you is the Seven of Pentacles. And so Seven of Pentacles is a card of investment, and it's a card of reaping what you sow. It's a card of really you know, just waiting for your seeds to harvest. And so in the near future, it seems to me that this is an energy of, you know, of toil and of effort. And again, like, you know, this is where you're headed. And so it's like you're climbing a mountain right now. It's so interesting because like all of the energy here feels really earthly and bogged down. And it's so interesting how you are ultimately going forward to the highest of heights, spiritually. And that really speaks to like a grand happiness that is just so permeating every cell. But you're like, I think in the very near, you know, future, and kind of as you go into this turnover, you're still in the thick of it. But you know, I think, you know, there's a real wisdom with this card, because it's like this agrarian, let's call him, you know, he's waiting for his pentacles to harvest. And there's a sense that, you know, like there's always a sense of like, you know, some may not, come to pass, and some, but like ultimately he knows something is coming. Something is coming. Something is on the horizon. Like how fruitful that will be, he's not, as certain, but something is coming. And that's the feeling. Like, so you're really like willing to put in the honest work. And, and you sort of have to, because like you kind of have gone this far. I feel like it's like, it's not going to be the best example, but it's like Macbeth's, speech about where he says, well, you've gone halfway through the river, there's no turning back, you can't turn around and not, you can't complete, once you get to a certain point across, a river, going back makes no sense because it's equal distance to complete the task. So that's sort of the mentality that you're in right now. Probably a better example is, I think Abraham Hicks has, or at least she relayed, a similar anecdote or parable where, like, if you're driving your car and you forget how to get to where you're going halfway there, you don't turn around and go back home to find out. You either get directions from that point, or you just find your way, like, so there's just no turning back to you. That's the vibe, like because you've made it this far. Sorry about the poor retellings of those shoddy parables, but no, they're good ones. They're good. It's not the parable's fault. It's my retelling. I apologize for, but that's the vibe. That's the energy, and so that's great. And I think it's a really beautiful learning lesson that I think a lot of times when people are in this energy of like, boom, kapow, amazing, you're so amazing, you're so enlightened, you're so like, just everything flows for you. How do you do that? Why are you magic? People don't get to see this part, and this part, and, this part, all of like, and like, so this is a really gorgeous example of like what it takes to get to this part, so I hope that's clear for the idea is that you don't get to supreme enlightenment and flow and just being like a master manifestor for whom everything goes right for, essentially, and who's just winning at every turn, without putting in the work and without having indeed suffered some turmoil and some choppy waters and seen some hard times, and then had the presence of mind to move away from it at the right time, and to therefore come out of it, on top and winning without losing any of your resources. But even if it is, exhausting and you came out wounded, you were wounded by it, you didn't come out unscathed, and then you still moved forward and knew that you needed to give it your hard work. Keep giving it your hard work, because you've come this far, and that's what you do. So in the near future, you continue to work. I think the first couple months of 2021, you're still going to be in that energy of like, all right, let's see this through. And indeed, where that puts you in, in the beginning of the year is the Queen of Pentacles. And so here you are, you're over the hump. Let's just breathe that in. So you're over the hump, you guys. And the Queen of Pentacles energy is a very exalted representation of her suit of earth. And so this is of security, wealth, fecundity, fertility, in her here on the earthly plane, and she is very nurturing and nurtured, and she stands for growth, and so this is where you are. This is in your position now as a result of all of this, and so you're now well on your way to this, this really super, enlightened state. And of course you are. The Queen of Pentacles is pre-Empress energy, which is, kind of all of this over here too. and I say you're over the hump because now it's just go time over here. Like this was like, oh, you know, we're getting through the weeds a little bit, and now we've made it. Your harvest has come in, and it's come in at the level of the Queen of Pentacles, and so we've just got a very feckin' fertile and just blooming, bursting garden of wealth in all things, and that's all things of, you know, in health, wealth, and in love. And indeed, your environment is the Lovers, and the Lovers is a card of divine counterparts and soul contracts at like a really high level. It's major arcana, and major arcana is you know, just it's a real BFD, you know, like a really big deal. And so for some of you, it's going to mean that in your environment is you know, is somebody, and perhaps it was this Knight of Cups here that we talked about earlier, who is still there with you, and you form a really deep soul contract and commitment, and indeed love for one another. It could be romantic, it could be platonic, it could be a really like perfect business partnership. You know, it's equal partnership of give and take. It is divinely orchestrated, is what it is, you know, because once you tap into the flow of things, you know, the universe brings you together. And I think that's sort of what happened early on. So yeah, I'm just getting a little like heady over it because it is just so wow, you know, in the same way I was over here. It's just so beautiful to like to know that like it's it really feels earned in a way, you know, although like I think it's not earned in the sense of, you know, you took an opportunity and therefore you got a result out of it. It's that you worked hard and your work led to you opening up, you know, the channel to receive this love, and so it came flooding in, and in the form of this really beautiful connection, and it could also talk about your capacity to have these connections. And so often it does mean one other person, but sometimes it could just mean that like you have in your environment the capacity to tap into so, you know, this type of soul bonds with the people in your midst. But I think more and more like it's for most of you, it's going to talk about a particular connection with somebody with whom you feel a great deal of support. It also talks about decisions and choices and to some degree contracts. So in your environment position for some of you is going to be simply that. But really it's just all so beautiful. Your hopes and fears is the Six of Cups, and the Six of Cups is you know, it's also soulmate, it's past life connections, it's also you know, a return to innocence. Sometimes it's like somebody from your past is going to show up. It could be you know, in terms the context of this reading though, I think that it's you know, if it's something that you hope for, it's that all of this experience will, you know, bring you back to your innocence, you know, and imbue you with a sense of wonder again that perhaps wasn't happening before, because like some of this like really these tough times that you had to go through, that can really burn out our sense of innocence and wonder. It can kind of make us feel jaded, and I think that you hope that that hasn't happened, you know, because now you've got all of this beauty and wonderful love in your life and creation, and things are, you know, and you're establishing your legacy, and you're back in, you know, the flow of things, and indeed, you know, really feeling enlightened. And so you hope that you didn't lose your sense of innocence through this, and you know, and that's all you got to do is hope for it, and you won't have done. And so I think that bodes well. That it's even on your mind is a good sign that you can heal from that. So healing is available to you, and then you're. You guys, I can't even. Your outcome is the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups. What a beautiful, beautiful outcome. Because look, it's an offering of love, of overflowing, unconditional love, and it just doesn't get better than that. And it could just be as a result of, this soul contract that started as a knight offering. This is the cup that he's offering. It just grows. It grows, and it becomes an offering from the universe, like the size of an offering the size of the universe. Of just overflowing, abundant, unconditional love, and that's what the outcome of all of this journey is for you, and how you how 2021 is looking for you, which is pretty lovely. Let's get some more clarification on the Ace of Cups. Who dat? Oh, really? Plot thickens. Okay. We like to get 3 cards, that's why. Okay. Okay, so this is really interesting because it's sort of like a side-chained message. I don't think it's entirely unrelated to. I think it's related to this stuff here, the stuff you're moving away from. So what we have is the Devil, the Strength card, and the Hanged Muse. So for some of you, what's going on in receiving that cup of love, I think the message here is to be strong and be okay with receiving it. Okay, I think what most of you need to hear right now is that you deserve this. You deserve this cup of love. I think where you were coming from before had to do with perhaps there was toxicity, and there was the need to be really strong and tame the beast within, and to change your perspective on things. I think this ties into kind of where you're coming from. So for some of you, there might have been some addiction and or codependency. There might have been a relationship that you left that's signified by this Devil, and so as a support to your outcome being the Ace of Cups, it's it's almost saying you bested this, and therefore and not just therefore you deserve love. You deserve love, by the way, you do, and so none of this that you went through makes you undeserving. And no wonder your hope and fear is that you'll return to innocence. It's almost as if you feel like the darkness that you've seen, that what you had to fight and be strong for, tainted you and made you less worthy of certain love, and perhaps this love that's being offered you now. And it's not true. You deserve it because you are strong. And the thing about this card here, the Strength card, is that it really talks about somebody who's incredibly special. It's not just being strong, just be strong, weather the storm. It's somebody who is able to tame the beast, somebody who has the strength, the boldness, and the ingenuity to whisper to a beast as great as this huge lion. On the Rider-Waite, she's putting her hand in its mouth, and it's a pussycat in her hands, and that speaks to somebody who is incredibly strong. It speaks to that type of strength. It's not just the exertion of strength. It's just somebody who is for whom it naturally occurs to them to not wither. not wither when things get really nasty or really threatening. And truly, the presence of the devil here shows that you had to deal with and perhaps are afraid of still dealing with this level of toxicity. And so the Hanged Man says, says something. I'm sorry, it's like it got choked up in my throat, like it wouldn't come out. I have the words, but they're just like they stopped. So if for anybody that rings with, like, if what part of your problem was that you didn't feel like you could fully express yourself in previous relationships or situations, that's what this is talking about, is that like you can free yourself of that right now. But what I was talking about with the Hangman is that you can just simply step back and take a time out, and but your ability to see things in a different perspective and is your way out, is your way to to freedom from this, because it's like you can turn this around and not be a victim to it. You can simply be like, that's something I had the opportunity to experience, and now I'm all the wiser for it. I'm all the wiser for it, and that's my strength. And for all those reasons, you deserve to accept this this offering of divine love that's coming through for you. I love that, you guys. It's beautiful, and that's where we're going to end it. But we're going to do one more fun thing, and I wrote down the lyrics, the first lyric to different songs that I shuffled out of my phone. And so we're going to see how that resonates with your reading, or if it's just an additional fun message for you. It might be deep message. There's all sorts of songs in here. But let's see for group 2. What do we have to say to our group 2 people? Oh, that's the one. It's like magic. Yeah. So this song is by Broadcast. They're a band from like the early 2000s who are so good. But it's, you won't find it by yourself. You're gonna need some help. You won't fail with me around. Come on, let's go. It's the song Come On, Let's Go by Broadcast. That's perfect. Okay, so because this person who you find, this soulmate that you find, they recognize that it's like you've been going it alone for a really long time, and you've been like own selfing it for a long time, like you've been kind of resisting the assistance, and they're like, let me help you, just let me help you, and I think you come around. You finally come around. You do. And even if you don't right away, they're not going anywhere. They're not letting you alone, because they're like, that's it. Where, like, let's go. I can't quite get it out. But they're just telling you as it is. They're like, I'm here to help you. I don't think you have a choice in the matter, because this is divinely orchestrated. So let's just go. I'm here. Sorry, you're stuck with me. I'm your teammate forever, or at least for a really long time. And such is the offer of this love. It's so beautiful. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. My heart is bursting. I love this person. I love you guys. Happy New Year. I hope that resonates with you. I think it's so beautiful. All right, love and light, and Happy New Year. Let's move on to group 3. Hey, group 3. So this is your reading. You picked group 3, which was the Red Jasper. The Red Jasper talks about, it's a stone of protection. It's also a stone of grounding and of focus. And so, what that tells me is that your energy right now, coming out of 2020 and going into 2021, is really focused on grounding yourself and getting to a point where you are feeling immovable, you know. I think, you know, because it's also a stone of protection. You are guarding your heart. There's something I want to say about protecting your heart, and it's and I think that's a space that you feel very vulnerable in right now, because you're and it's made you feel, I want to say, like you've been feeling really liquidy, like fluid, like, because, you know, like a little too up in your emotions lately, and so your aim is to get grounded and to therefore take the focus off of your heart, because it's a space that you're feeling very vulnerable right now. And let's see where that leads us, because sometimes that is something you need to do. We just had another reading, if you'd like to see, I think it was group 1's, whose reading was all about opening the heart chakra and just being available and like not vulnerable at all in that space, and just free flowing. But sometimes that's just not possible. It's just not where we are, and you do have to kind of ground, and you know, they're not mutually exclusive ideas, but you know, it's just a point in time. It's all movable, and at this current moment you feel that you need to be protected in that space, and I support that. So let's see what this where we start here. So for our overriding energies, I have for you thank you card to the universe. This is where we start, and this is where you start, and so we've got the stars, and that reminded me, of course, of the star card. I am in humble gratitude to universe for all my wildest hopes and dreams being realized here and now. I fearlessly accept my abundant manifestation of resplendence. It always was, it always will be, and so it is. So, enough said, right? Look, I think that you're manifesting a great deal, and you're working really hard right now. And I think that's why you're feeling really protective in, you know, in the space where you're not perhaps incredibly available, you know, in your heart space right now, because you're working so you're sort of got your nose to the grindstone, because you've got dreams to manifest. You've got stuff to do. You have achievements to see through, and you are seeing them through. That's happening for you right now in the here and now. And that is the overriding energy of 2021. We have oh wow, sorry, with some of the oracle cards, and we also have an Intuiti. You know, 3 readings in, I'm still not saying this deck right, but my dear friend gifted me this deck, and I love it so much. But it's intuitive tarot cards based on the Rider-Waite. Love the imagery here. So look, you guys, I don't know why I just channeled like a corny, I don't know, old school Broadway actress or something that I don't know who it is, but like maybe some of that resonates with you guys. If you guys are like, yep, da, you know, that type of person. Some of y'all are that, because whoa, that came through. It's coming through like crazy. I don't know. Fun. You're fun. I think, so happy. You guys, boom, reading over. It's happy is like the star card. It's so in line. I swear I didn't orchestrate this ahead of time. I just shuffled these out. She's holding star, and happy is also the sun. So we've got like star sun energy here in the tarot. If you know, for those of you who know, and for those of you who are less familiar, it's, you know, the sun is like the happiest card in the deck. It talks about unbridled happiness, unknown, you know, and then the star card is about your hopes and your dreams coming true, being fully realized, which is why that message to the universe was that is happy, and like this is a continuing theme of that very idea of just making manifest, having everything come forward for you. And that's why you're in this energy where you have to, you're really focused, like you're laser focused right now. Again, the stone talks about that type of focus. The intuitive card is it's the death card essentially, and so what we're talking about is rebirth, is we're talking about rising again, phoenix from the ashes, and going off into the sunset yet again. Look at this imagery. This person is busted out of their, you know, it's basically a coffin, and they're a bird. They're a bird because they're the phoenix from the flames, and they're going off into the sunset. They're going to find the sun, which is their ultimate happiness, because they, you know, they're coming, you know, full circle here. So that's where you guys are at. You have just come through a really transformative place, because perhaps, you know, something happened. You know, you're coming out of a space where, like, you feel like you need to be guarded, you know, in the heart space, but, you know, like, it's just that you're in a healing process, and so you went within, and you coffined it out for a little bit, and you're busting out, you're ready to phoenix out and head for happy, and you have to do that with laser focus, because it's just like, that's it, I've got my eye on the prize, it is the sun in the horizon, I'm going to get what's mine, I'm making manifest, and that is what's happening for you in 2021. Make no mistake. Wow, so this energy that's coming through for you guys is really assertive. It's like, it just knows, again, like, eye on the prize, this is the thing I need to do. And, like, I'm not this person, I promise you. Yeah, wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's too many right now. Group number 3. And it's like, you're just like, that is, you know, don't question me. Sort of like, yeah. I'm just gonna let these come through. Wow. The story is just so clear. I know. Can I just say, so much like swords energy, and it's really like, okay, see change. I've got this eerie feeling that, like, I know who I'm talking to, like, that's like, but non-specific, and it's just so weird that specific but not specific. I don't even know why I said that, because it makes no sense. But it's that like this energy that I'm familiar with, but I don't know the person. So hello, hi group number 3, hi group number 3 energy. Like, I see you, I think I see you. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just like, it's 3 readings in, I think I'm a little loopy on top of it, but really, like, this is really coming through super strong, and I'll tell you what I see here. Okay, so we talked about that. All right, where we start with is a lot of swords energy, and so what that means is that you've been up in your head, and there's been a lot of, like, a feeling of conflict and turmoil and anxiety that you've been dealing with. It's no wonder you're blocked, and you've been feeling really protected or protective of your heart space. It's no wonder. You start off with the 9 of Swords energy, and the 9 of Swords energy is just that. It's sleepless nights. You're coming out of, like, you might have been having recurring nightmares. You might be waking up in the middle of the night being like, oh my God, like, this is just, it's whatever is heavy on your mind. It's going to be different for everybody. Like, it just won't leave you. You're just really, you've been up in it, but what's interesting is the crossing energy is a King of Wands, and and what crosses you, or is oh, is this your energy? You feel really passionate, like, you're very passionate. So it's really interesting that it's like your instinct has been to shut down your heart, but, like, that's all, like, you are burning flame of fiery passion, and you want nothing but a channel for which to to plug that into. That's just, I don't know what that sounds like. I'm not even gonna say it, but you're really trying to all you want to do is freely express what you're passionate about, but you feel so beat up, betrayed even comes to mind, that you don't feel like it's safe. You haven't felt like it's been safe to do so, and so you've been really protected and blocked off by it. But because this, like what's crossing the energy of this anxiety and these sleepless nights and this these nightmares is your passion, is your passionate nature. The King of Wands is the highest, most exalted aspect of his element of fire, which is passion, action, activity. He's really he's like the best boss. He's like the best dad. He's the best authoritarian figure. He's like the best boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Gender doesn't matter. It's just like they're the most elevated in the suit, and so like it's the most realized and the most established of that energy, and so that's where you are as well. But it's interesting because that's the disrupting energy, because you're also just coming out of all of this anxious energy, and what's surrounding you is all these other swords too, and let's get into that, because I just want to say that like it's let this be your guiding light, your beacon, because we talked about this phoenix from the flames. Again, you're this passionate what happens to the phoenix? They burst into flames and into ashes, and they rise from the ashes again. And so this is the flame, and it burns inside of you, and it's your access to rebirth, and to renew yourself again, and it's happening, and I'm going to tell you about that in a second. So at the root of you is the Seven of Swords, and so that's betrayal. That's like somebody who's really who deceived you, and that's the energy you're coming out of, and that's feeding this anxiety. And of course, and like it was it hurt your heart so bad. I get that. Like that's the energy of this card, in this context, especially with all of this other stuff. It's that you didn't see it coming, and it came from somebody who you least expected it from, and it really left you questioning everything you knew, like you thought you knew, and that's why it causes this much anxiety. And so as a result, you had this is the Two of Swords in reverse, but the Two of Swords upright, like a reversal implies that that it used to be upright. And so what happens is this is your crowning energy. You felt, therefore, that you had to block your heart space. That's exactly what the Two Swords is. It also, it's a decision to do so. And it's also not knowing, kind of being blocked off from being able to move forward and make a decision, for not knowing, because you're blinded. You don't have all the information. In the reverse, though, it's you releasing that energy. Excuse me. Sorry, I've been talking a lot, swallowing a lot of air, but so it's this is the turning point for you. Like it's what crowns you. Like what finally comes to mind and to front of mind for you is the idea that like you can start to change this, and you can take that blindfold off, or you can move forward without having to have all the information, and just be decisive and cut this person out, and basically begin to release the feeling of that you need to protect your heart so much. But it's we'll leave it there for now. In your immediate past is the Eight of Swords in the reverse. So again, like there's this whole idea. What's so interesting is that like the full story is here. Like we see the betrayal happening, we see the resulting anxiety, and we also see that, it made you feel like go through this stage where you're like, why me? Why did I have to be here? Like, and that's what the Eight of Swords energy is. It's sort of like the self-inflicted victimhood, and people always talk about this as being like, oh, she's all wrapped up and bound and encircled by these swords, but look, the swords are like wide open, and those binds are very loose and she could just wiggle right out of them. Her staying there in that victimhood is her choice. Her, just because that's a female in the card. Doesn't matter, male or female. And so it's her choice to be victimized by this, but because this came up in the reverse, you're releasing that energy. So it's funny that we see the establishment and we see you going through all of the stages of healing through this betrayal, because indeed what's happening is you're healing. And again, Phoenix from the flames, Phoenix from the ashes. You know, it's really wonderful to just see the whole story and the progress that you have pretty immediately to us. I know it felt like an age for you, but to see you go through this. So my collective, group number 3s, bravo, brava, well done. You are truly a warrior. And so what happens is we get our immediate outcome, because you've bothered to do this work, is the Queen of Wands. You come out really attractive, really burning brightly with that fire. Once again, you have risen fully from the ashes now. So you found your way back. And it's happening right away. It could also speak to another person, coming up in the mix for some of you who are, engaging in romantic relationships. It could be a Queen of Wands type, and this is a fire sign. Or it could be, it doesn't have to be, but it'd be somebody who is very fiery and passionate, again, like mirroring your King of Wands energy. So what we have on the table here is a divine counterpart. For those of you for whom this resonates, and there is a divine counterpart in your near future, basically coming to meet you halfway and be there as your equally fiery and passionate person. But for a lot of you, I think this speaks to your evolution and speaks to you returning and owning fully your passionate self, having healed from the wounds of this betrayal, whatever went down. And this is how you enter 2021. Okay. Over here we've got an interesting little story as well. This is the card that signifies you, where you are right now, as a result of all of this. And it is the 3 of Wands, which is a card of expansion. So you're moving past your boundaries, past your own boundaries. And that means, of course you are, but what it really means is that, like, all of this stuff that just happened in the past is truly in the past now, because now you're ready to move on and go beyond your known boundaries into lands that have yet to be excavated. Like, you have yet to discover what goes beyond your boundary here. And so it's a really beautiful place to be, considering where you came from. You were in this bondage and this feeling of victimhood, and now, like, that you were able to express yourself out of it and find your way through your passion and following your passion. And look, because you became really focused and understood that you had to, for a time, protect your heart and protect yourself and just, like, not let anybody else in for a time, you got to the other side of it, and now you can let your fire burn again. And when that happens, now you can start to burst past your boundaries, and you're back to one. You've returned to your full energy. And in your environment is the 2 of Pentacles in reverse. And so in the upright, the 2 of Pentacles talks about balancing finances sometimes. Sorry, this sounds really boring all of a sudden, but it's balancing, it's a juggling act, though, and so one thing I like to say, like, it's not boring, it's actually quite good, it's quite interesting, and in the way that it's the ability to take on multiple things or a couple of things and balance them artfully, like, really keep those pentacles in the air, and and yet it's something that is, on one foot even. Come on, this guy is just really he's very, entertaining as he does this little juggling act. So but this is in the reverse, and the thing is that this takes a lot of effort to do, and it's in your environment. So I think what's happening is that something in your environment is going to change as a result of you moving past your boundaries and being in a space that's ready to expand. Something's going to simplify for you. For some of you, it's going to be your job, and you're going to get a promotion that maybe before you had like kind of a support position that where like oftentimes like the person who's the main title, the president of the department, he gets all the accolades and all the credit, but really it's like the people under them like working their butts off into the midnight hour, and they're doing all the work, but this person gets the credit. So perhaps like you used to be that person, and now you're getting a promotion because it's pentacles, and so like it's like material environment, like your material world and your finances and perhaps your job. For a lot of you, it's going to be that. And so like you get a promotion to a titled position that where you're like, oh, I'm making, so much more money, and I have, so much more authority, but like I have so much less work. Like there's so much less to juggle. So yay to that. And for others of you, it could be, that things are simplifying in other aspects of your material life. Like you just get to put something down, and if that means that you've been how else does that manifest? It's just anywhere that where in the past perhaps some of this anxiety was brought upon by just having to deal with a lot of energies in the material world, in the material sense, like here in the 3D, that you being able to put one of those things down and simplify your life is kind of like what's on the horizon here in your environment. Your hopes and fears is the 7 of Cups in reverse. Lots of reversals in this spread, not as many in the others. It's interesting. That your hopes and fears is so if the 7 of Cups is overwhelmed, it's having a lot of options, and sometimes it means being overwhelmed by a lot of options, but it's also like a lot of options that you love, because they're all cups, so they're all really good options. In reverse, it's like in being your hopes and fears, it's almost as if like you don't want your options to go away. It's like you're kind of like nervous about perhaps the simplification means that like if you're specializing, that you lose some of those options, those choices that you had, and like being in a certain period of your life or in your career, or like I'm sort of starting to feel that this is a like a vocational group here, less to do with relationships, accepting this divine counterpart, the King and Queen of Wands here. That's a potential for some of you. For a lot of you, this is an evolution process that happened to yourself, and like you're returning to your passion like enables you to like specialize and get better at your work, and get therefore a promotion and rise up in your place of business, and yet it makes you like wonder if like, oh, me saying goodbye to some of those options that being able to like juggle those many different talents or different tasks at the same time like offered me, there's always a stage in our career ascension where we're in a place where we're like, okay, now I can go here, 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 and like either direction, any direction is going to be great. It's going to be an ascension in any direction. But the minute that you like choose, you're like, oh, do all of those other things go away then? I don't know. Maybe I want to be able to pivot back towards them. And that's sort of like, where your energy is and your hopes and fears, that you might lose some options along the way. And, you know what? Maybe you will, but I think that, you don't need, not really. You you don't, look, you have free will. The choice is yours. You get to do whatever you want. And if you want to backtrack and do something different, again, that's in your, your that's totally possible too. It may take some extra work, but anyway, I'm getting a little too specific now. But I want to say that it just acknowledges that, that's something on your mind, that you're afraid of losing some options. And as a result, though, of, by the way, like being promoted and specializing, it seems to be, your outcome is the Page of Wands. And so again, out of Swords energy, all Wands energy, passion, activity, inspiration. You come out of this so inspired. And this Page of Wands is this youthful energy, which is this like, this sort of renewed, again, like, this is just all just happening. And so it's interesting that you have like the King and the Queen of Wands here. Like that's the elevation of your passion, that the power at which it takes to thrust you out of this earlier energy that was all this anxiety and victimhood and betrayal, and like, that was so bad that it took like this really like supercharged thrust of passion to get you out of it and back on track into this expansive area where then you truly do get to specialize, and now you're in a space of like new, fresh inspiration. And so truly, like, you don't have anything to worry about in terms of like losing options, because like I feel like the energy of this fresh inspiration is one that like is basically, it's like it understands that now anything is possible again. Anything is possible. So let's get and anything is possible. And so, let me just, like clarify even further that the Page of Wands is also a messenger, potentially, with, of inspiration. So it also might mean that in the end, this might result in a younger person coming forward with, new ideas for you to build upon together, but definitely new inspirations, fresh inspirations on the horizon in your outcome. So 2 more cards there for the Page of Wands. What does that mean? What? Oh, Lord. Now they're just messing with me. No, we're going to pick it up. Okay. Yeah. So, you guys, as we move forward into our outcome and, supporting the Page of Wands, which talks about, fresh ideas and new inspirations, what we get is the 5 of Materials in reverse, the 10 of Inspiration, more Wands, and Muse of Materials, which is, so materials in the Muse Tarot is Pentacles energy, so physical energy, materials. And the Muse is the King, so the most exalted representation of the pentacles, of the coins, of your material world. So that means that, out of this you will become wealthy. So male or female, doesn't matter. Basically, there's a great deal of abundance, support, and nurturing at a level that is so exalted, and creativity too, because it's earth. It's earth. It's creation. It's fecundity. Again, it's a garden of growth, but especially in the material sense, and so there's a lot of wealth and abundance that comes out of this. The 10 of Inspirations talks about this sense of burden. You're burdened by your inspiration, by your passion, and you're holding it up. But I like the Muse Tarot is such a beautiful depiction of this, because it's so clear in exactly how or why. It's not just a burden. Like, yeah, of course you're going to carry heavy burdens, but why? It's because it's so hard to be special. It's so hard to be special. Basically what happens on this card is like, you're trying so hard to fit in, with the herd of cattle carrying up their urns of water, but you're not cattle. You're this special, like, priestess energy, male or female, doesn't matter. But you're just like this special, and your urn doesn't have water. It's got freaking magic in it. Do you see that? I don't know if you can see it, but there's stars floating out of her urn. And yet she tries to dutifully go up the mountain with the rest of the cattle, but she can't. And her burden is that it's so hard for her to blend in. She can't help but stand out, and that's her burden. And that such is your burden in your ascension. So like, you know, not that bad, but you know, it acknowledges that it's hard to be special sometimes. It is hard to be special sometimes. And indeed, you have the Five of Materials to talk about that. And the Five of Materials, or Five of Pentacles, talks about, you know, feeling alienated or left out in the cold. And that's, you know, what that specialness maybe kind of, you know, start to threaten for you. That it's like, well, I'm not going to be like anybody else. Like, if I ascend through this, like maybe you're leaving, you know, behind like your fellow, you know, colleagues, or your fellow friends, or your fellow, you know, like people who, like, you know, your ascension is kind of like makes you feel like you might be leaving, you know, a certain culture behind, that, you know, that you're not going to be able to tap into it and be alienated for it. But because the Five of Materials is in the reverse, it means that that's not true. You don't have to worry about that. You will not be alienated from the culture that you know or where you came from, because as a result of this ascension, you can go forward and fully embody the King of Pentacles, or in this case, the Muse of Materials, and just go forward fully, you know, fruitful in this effort. You have earned it. You've earned it, and so just go and get it, okay? And don't be afraid, you know, and don't be, you know, I think, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but what the guidance here, all evidence here on the table is that, you know, you may now release yourself from the bondage of this past betrayal and victimhood, whatever that caused you this great anxiety, because you have pushed yourself with a great deal of passion, you know, to a period of expansion that you can look forward to this year, and it's going to be very fruitful and abundant. And let's talk about, you know, again, just to remind you where we started, it's all of your hopes and dreams, you know, being made manifest in the here and now, and that you can fearlessly accept your abundant manifestation of resplendence, because it always was, always will be, and so it is. So last thing I want to do before I leave you guys is this fun thing where I pick a song. I wrote out, I did a shuffle, the first line of a song to kind of like give, you know, you a little, you know, just some more energy to talk about where we're headed and what this year is about, and what's perhaps, you know, in support of this reading. For group 3, excuse me. I'm going to be hiccuping all the time. Oh, this came out as group 1 as well. Group 1 got this too. I almost want to pull you a second one, and I might just. But this is Exist for Love by Aurora. They say there is a war between the man and the woman. Okay, if that's just the first line of the song. This is a beautiful love song, you guys. Okay, and it's basically listen to it. Exist for Love by Aurora. This woman has an incredible voice, and the song is so beautiful, and it's about twin flame love, like basically, you know, but this first line is so interesting. They say there's a war between the man and the woman, and you know, that's not, you know, really apropos to much in your reading, you know, but it does talk about, you know, I think, except for, you know, for those of you who, you know, are the King and Queen of Wands, that if it comes up at all as, you know, for some of you that you're dealing with sort of like a divine counterpart, or like a soul connection out of, you know, that helps you through, kind of like ushers you through this period, you know, it's there might be, you know, a feeling of resistance at first, but you know, but if you go back and read the lyrics of this song, it's this really beautiful union. And so, like, just let that guide you, and if nothing else, just listen to this song. I want to pull you one more and see if there's anything more like for this reading. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad it. This is Radiohead, Near Miss. I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll this time. I feel my luck could change from the song Lucky. It's again though, like there's a little bit of like, this sort of like it's from the song Lucky, and it talks about a near miss, is like a car crash sort of thing, and I think this is really much more appropriate, apropos to your reading, because it's like whatever happened over here, it really felt like a near miss, and because like you turned left instead of right, you dodged a bullet, you got, or somebody dragged you out of the crash maybe, or you were saved. Either by your own like ingenuity and your own ability to like, to burst from the flames and rise from the ashes, or by the assistance of somebody who's on your same level. And that just changed everything. Like your luck completely changed as a result, and led you towards this path of expansion instead. It's really beautiful, and I love that song so much, and I'm gonna go listen to it right now. You guys, thank you so much. Love and light to you, and Happy New Year. Thank you for being a part of my first video on Khanduit Tarot. I hope to see you again. If this resonated, please do like and subscribe if you're so moved. And in order to get notifications of my future readings. Love you, bye-bye.